推着，我们是喜乐的。
When we were moving some heavy soil, we were actually very happy in our hearts.
我知道有个姐妹，她挖土挖的第二天手都痛了。
I know someone was digging, and the next day the hands hurt.
但是当我们在一起做的时候，我们是真的充满喜乐的。
But when we were doing the work, we were filled with joy.
我觉得不比我们查经班差，不比查经班差，我们这个喜乐。
So this is actually just as meaningful as Bible studies.
弟兄和睦同居是何等的善，何等的美。
So this is what a beautiful picture.
所以，但是我们在做的时候，其实为什么我们撒种有喜乐呢？
And so I would like to dig into the topic of why we felt joy as we were sowing seeds.
其实撒种是辛苦的。
Actually, it was toil and hard work, isn't it?
我们有一个小山坡的土，要把它挖平。
Because it was landscape work of leveling a small mound.
有些土要从地方运过来。
And we have to move the soil from
其
far away.
实撒种是辛苦的。
So sowing seeds is
但
actually
为什
hard
么我们
work.
会有喜乐呢？
Why are we filled with
我
joy?
刚才我们有大家同工合一做事情的喜乐。
Because we deduce joy from working together as a family.
我们还有另外一个喜乐。
And we have another source of joy,
这让我想到另外一节经文，
which reminds me of another verse.
在希伯来书的11章，
Hebrews chapter 11.
讲到当主耶稣钉在十字架上忍受巨大痛苦的时候，
When Jesus endured the greatest pain on earth on the
他说
cross,
因着摆在他前面的喜乐，他可以忍受羞辱和痛苦。
he was able to put up with the pain because he was looking forward to the greatest joy ahead.
耶稣在十字架上的苦是人类历史上最大的苦，
He endured the greatest pain in human history
是跟神的隔离，
because he was separated from Holy
被
Father.
人的背叛，
He was enduring betrayal of his disciples,
身体的巨大的疼痛。
and he was enduring great physical pain.
而且圣经上都说，这个挂在木头上的是应该受咒诅的。
And as the Jewish tradition would have it, those who hang on a cross endure a great curse.
所以他是在受到巨大的痛苦和咒诅的情况下，他说有在他前面的喜乐。
When he was bearing the pain and the curse on his body, he was delighted because of the joy ahead.
什么是他的喜乐？
What is his joy, source of joy?
我今天想到你们所有的人，
And I think of all of you today
想到我自己，
and myself.
我们大家都是耶稣在十字架上的喜乐。
We are all the reasons of his joy on the
因
cross.
为当他在十字架上的时候，他完成了救赎的功。
Because when he was on the cross, he accomplished the work of salvation.
罪的工价已经完全在他的肩膀上被承担了。
The price of salvation was fully paid.
圣经告诉我说，凡是信他名的，就是接受他的人，神就要给他权柄做神的儿女。
Whoever believes in him and receives him can be his children.
所以，当他在十字架上忍受最大的痛苦的时候，他就说 ：“Just a moment more, a moment more， 再多一点，再多点时间，救赎的功劳就成就了。”就有很多的人要跟神重新和好。
So when he was endured a great pain on the cross, he would tell himself to put it up for another moment, because he knew very soon the salvation of all mankind will be ahead.
跟你旁边的人说：“你是耶稣的喜乐。”
Tell your neighbors that you are the source of Jesus' happiness.
你是耶稣的喜乐。
You are the joy of Jesus.
人类历史上最大的撒种，就是耶稣死在十字架上，然后他撒种的时候带着最大的喜乐。
The greatest scale of human sowing was done on the cross by Jesus by shedding his blood.
那首歌说：“一粒麦子如果落在土里死了。”
The song that we sang just now, the one seed that fell into the ground.
耶稣说的，
It was a story
告
told
诉
by
耶稣是
Jesus.
指着他自己说的。
It will become manifold.
他这粒麦子死了，种在地里。
The dying of the seed and the burying of the seed in the ground.
他说：“当我被高举的时候，
When I am raised on the
会
cross,
吸引万民来归向。”
I will draw all mankind to me.
哦， 万民。
all mankind.
所以这是他的最大的喜乐。
This is his greatest joy.
所以今天当我们在这里撒种的时候，
So today when we are sowing
我们
seeds,
也有同工的喜乐，
we have this joy of collaborating with Jesus.
我们有另外一个喜乐，
And we have another
就是
source
有
of
一天，
happiness.
有一天
Because one day, we
我
know
们
that
可以
one
在里面
day,
祷告，里面有一个很漂亮的祷告园，
very soon we'll be able to pray in this ground.
里面将有个十字架和空坟墓区域。
We will be able to be under this cross.
我们可以
and
想象我们在
cave.
那个地方敬拜祷告。
We can think of the picture of us worshiping in this wonderful place.
当这些姐妹们撒种的时候，
When the wonderful sisters were sowing the
他们
seeds,
在想说：“我现在撒种，想让我的儿子在这上面踢球。
as they were sowing, they were having this picture of their children playing soccer on the ground.
我们在想着有一天我们在上面 barbecue，
And we're thinking of one day having barbecue
我
on
们
the
在想着
ground.
我们有一天在这边有个 open air worship， 在公开的敬拜。
So the sowing of the seeds was for the future worshiping in the open
我们
place.
在想着有一天我们在那边有许多的人可以信主。
We were thinking of the picture of how many people would be drawn to this place of worship.
这是我们未来的喜乐。
We were happy because of what would come in the future.
事实上，在我们做这个花园的过程中，有好多人经过，
As we were doing the work, a lot of passers-by were there.
很多人说：“哇，这个教会真棒。
They were amazed at our work. ”
基督徒说：“你们真的像使徒行传2章，
A lot of people were reminded of Acts chapter 2
因为你们在一起工作，
because you work
不
together.
分你我。
You work together united.
因此，有3个人说要加入我们的万国堂。
So 3 of those passers-by said that they would like to join our church.
我们相信更大的喜乐在后面，
And we believe that there is even greater joy ahead
里边是有许多福音的元素。
because we're going to be putting a lot of gospel elements in the garden.
从这一侧的祷告园到那一侧的十字架，中间是一条铺石路。
We're going to have a cobbled path leading from the prayer
所以这个
area
铺石路上
to
，to the cross。
from the cross to the prayer area.
所以呢，这里呢，我们预备可能做90到100个石头。
We're planning to lay the path with 100 stones.
而且，我想让我们教会差不多90到100个孩子，每个人做一个。
That is about the number of the children that we have in this church. So each child will put down one small
孩子和
stone.
父母会设计那个上面的圣经的话语。
So the family, parents and children can design which verse to put on their own stone.
你想想，如果我们中间的一个小朋友医学，
So let's say, for example, Ishan,
有一天他对他的孙子说 ：“Hello, little Jacob, you know this stone was laid by me, your grandma.
so one day Ishan will be telling his grandson Jacob, look, little child, this is the stone laid by your grandpa.
Over my life of 60 years, I walk on it, I prayed about it, I even prayed for you, my
I
little
have
person.
walked on this path for 60 years.
我在这60年无数次在这个石头路上走过，我常常还为很多人祷告，包括为我的孙子祷告。”
So we'll be walking on the stone path and praying for people.
OK， 但今天我要跟大家讲几个关于撒种的3个原则。
Today we'll be looking at 3 principles of sowing seeds.
第一节经文我要大家看一看是在传道书11章6节。
So the first verse we'll be reading is from Ecclesiastes Chapter 11.
早
verse
晨要
6.
撒你的种，晚上不要歇你的手。
In the morning sow your seed, and at evening withhold not your hand.
不要懒惰。
Do not be lazy.
撒种并不是撒完了就从此就结束了。
We do not say, oh, the work is done, and then we cross our arms.
我16岁以前，我是个农民。
Before I was 16 of age, I was a farmer.
我帮我妈妈、我姐姐她们一起耕田。
I was helping my father and my sister in farming.
我知道，在你种石田之前是大量的工作。
I know how much hard work is put into the field before sowing seeds.
一开始硬的土地是要用犁来把它翻土的。
Because you first of all have to remove the hard rocks from the ground.
然后呢，用水去那个泡它一段时间。
And you have to soak so that the oil will become
之后呢，
soft.
用来爬田，把它完全爬松。
And you have to rake the ground so that there's air in the ground.
直到全部预备好平了之后，我们才施肥施田。
And when the soil was all ready, then we could think about sowing seeds.
其实在此之前，所有周边的草都要先除掉。
First thing we had to do was to remove all the weeds.
但是撒完种并不是就立刻结束了，
And even when we sowed the seeds, it was not work done yet.
还有很多工作要做。
There were many, many other things to do.
You can't be lazy，
所以不能懒惰。
不可以懒惰。所以撒种的第一个原则就是努力。
So the first principle of sowing is put in your effort.
当种长出来的时候，我们还要努力。
When the shoots come out from the seeds, we still have to work hard.
因为没多久长到差不多一定程度的时候，小草也长出来。
Because after a while, you see the shoots coming out from the seeds.
然后在一定时间，我们客家人说要文田，我们要把那田走过去，把所有的草拔出来。
So there's this very special term, I don't know how to translate, basically some agricultural thing you have to do.
You take away the weeds.
Weed removal.
所以箴言24章告诉我说：“我经过懒惰人的田地，无人知道的葡萄园，荆棘长满了地，棘草遮盖了田亩，石墙也坍塌了。我看见有些思想，我就领了训诲。”
So can all young gentlemen and young sisters in Christ, all the young people and English speakers, read this verse together, please. I went by the field of the slothful and by the vineyard of the man void of understanding. And lo, it was all grown over with thorns, and nettles had covered the face thereof, and the stone wall thereof was broken down. Then I saw and considered it well. I looked upon it and received instruction.
We need effort. 我们需要努力，需要努力。不努力的结果就是，你也许撒种了，你也许种了，但是满田长的都是荆棘。
So if you think, oh, my job is done after sowing the seeds, and then you become lazy, what will happen is one day you will find a field filled with thorns and nettles.
有些基督徒也认为我信了主了，我就可以喝西北风了，我什么都可以不做，祷告上帝就可以来了。
So many Christians think that once I have given my life to the Lord, I can do nothing more because I can just pray to the God and remain idle.
真的是这样子吗？圣经告诉你说，在睡片时，在打盹片时，抱着手躺卧的时候，你的贫穷就如强盗速来，你的缺乏仿佛拿兵器的人来到。
Will a Christian life be okay when we keep idling? No, it says in Proverbs chapter 24, verse 33, yet a little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to sleep. So shall thy poverty come as one that travelleth, and thy want as an armed man.
基督徒不是懒惰的人，
Christians should not be lazy people.
基督徒是勤劳的人，加上有上帝恩典的人。
Christians should be diligent people with the grace of God.
相信上帝的人不是懒惰的人。
Those who believe in God should not be lazy followers.
在过去3个世纪，有92%的科学家对这个世界影响最大的科学，92%的都是相信上帝的人。
In the past 3 centuries, the most successful scientists, 92% of them were actually Christians.
他们因着上帝的启示，因为上帝的恩典，同时上帝给的价值观，我当努力，以至于他们有重大的科学发现。
They worked diligently and they were following the principle of truth from the God. With the grace of God, they became hugely successful.
所以我们需要努力。 诗篇的126篇5节说，流泪撒种的。
Psalms 126 verse 5, those who sow with tears will reap with songs of joy.
我只是要说上半这些，流泪撒种的，撒种是辛苦的，是会流泪的。
So another truth about sowing seeds is that it is hard work and you will have tears.
使徒行传20章19节记载了保罗的心路历程。
We can see how Paul felt in chapter
圣
20.
经常常把传福音比作撒种。
The Bible always uses the metaphor of sowing seeds.
事实上，我们刚才读的马可福音的4章讲的就是传福音，还有撒种来比喻。
Sowing seeds was compared to sharing the gospel, as we see
可是
in
当
Mark
你种
chapter
撒
4.
出去的时候，有4种辛苦，其中有3种是拒绝的。
So in the sowing seeds parable, you see 4 types of believers, and 3 of them actually gave up.
保罗的服事过程中，我们可以看见他面对大量的硬土。
In Paul's ministry, he came across a lot of Christians who betrayed the faith.
所以他这里说，服事主，凡事谦卑，眼中流泪，又因犹太人的谋害，经历试炼。
So he said in Acts chapter 20, I served the Lord with great humility and with tears, and in the midst of severe testing by the plots of my Jewish opponents.
昨天晚上我太太还跟我当牧师真的不容易，很辛苦。
So my wife told Pastor Dan's wife last night, told him how hard it is to be a pastor.
白头发长了这么多。
Because it turns your hair from black to gray.
因为我告诉他说，跟主耶稣、跟保罗相比，我们只是这么一点点。
But I told her that it's nothing compared to the hardship endured by Apostle Paul.
服事主是辛苦的，
It is hard work to serve the Lord.
撒种是辛苦的，
It is hard work to sow the seeds.
所以撒种的第2个法则就是我们要忍。
So the second principle of sowing seeds is endurance.
圣经告诉我们说，我们可以撒种，
We can sow the seeds.
我们需要撒种。
We need to sow the seeds.
结果种子没有撒下去，那个种子没有埋在土里，没有死了，它就不会长出籽类出来。
Truly, truly, I say to you, unless a grain of wheat falls into the earth and dies, it remains alone.
在开发那个陕西那个秦始皇的墓的时候，
The unearthing of the grave of Emperor Chang Qi-Huang.
They found 他们发现了一些种子，陪葬的种子。
They found in his grave the greatest emperor.
所以
They found some seeds in his grave.
那个种子完好无损，超过了2000年，仍然完好无损。
After 2,000 years, the seeds were still intact.
所以科学家们把这些种子试着种进去，
So the scientists tried to sow those seeds from 2,000 years ago.
发现那些种子全部就长出来了，跟新的种子是没有两样的。
And they found that the seeds actually sprouted at once.
你想这个种子，如果2000年前种下去的话，早就长出来了。
So think about what the seeds would have become if they were sowed 2,000 years ago.
那些种子具有倍增的 DNA，
Sorry.
具有倍增的那个 DNA 亚瑟那个倍增的因素，倍增的multiplication。
Oh, okay. So those seeds had the potential of multiplying.
但是因为当时的那个主人的选择，把它放在坟墓里堆了2000年，他失去了倍增的机会。
But because of the decision to put the seeds in the grave, so they lost their potential of multiplying.
同样，小朋友们、弟兄姐妹们，你们生命中，上帝也将福音的种子给了你。
So similarly, youngsters and brothers and sisters, similarly, God has bestowed some seeds in your hands.
你也许可以将这个种子立刻撒下去，然后长出来。
You have the choice of sowing the seeds at once,
但是很多人将这个种子藏在这里，
but a lot of people choose to put the seeds in their
有些
head,
人藏在这里，
and some choose to save the seeds in the
藏在圣经
home.
书里，从来没有撒过种。
Some hide the seeds in the world. They have never sown the seeds for the gospel.
没有撒下去，种子是不会带出神的能力的。
If the seeds are not sown, they lose the potential of life.
罗马书告诉我们说，福音乃是神的大能，要救一切相信的人。
So in Romans, it says that the gospel carries the power of God and is to bless a lot of people.
上帝的大能在福音里面，但是他这个大能是不会释放、拯救人。如果我们不撒种的话，不传出去的话，是不会的。
So God's power can be revealed in the gospel, but when the gospels are not shared, that means God's power cannot be revealed.
人们说，我们可以看上这个一个苹果里边有多少粒种子，
You can think about how many seeds there are in an apple.
我们只需要把它打开，里面数数就可以数到。
All you have to do is to cut the apple open and count the number of seeds.
But you will never count how many apples in one seed.
但是你不会在种子里面数有多少个苹果，
Because the seed, when it is planted, it can be a tree.
因为你把种子放在土地里，它长出来的不是一个苹果而已，而是整棵树。
一个苹果，如果一个苹果树一边长1000个苹果的话，
So if there are 1,000 apples in an apple tree,
然后这里许多的苹果中有一些种子被种进去的话，
and if some of those seeds got into the ground,
你不知道有多少。
you don't know, you lose count of how many apples can be reaped.
同样，你没有办法知道你传福音最终的果效会怎么样。
Similarly, you can never measure the impact of your sowing the gospel seeds.
我曾经跟神说，我要带领10万人信主耶稣。 I said to Jesus that I want to lead 100,000 people to the Lord.
No, 10,000 people.
100,000.
100,000.
但是到目前为止，我没有看见这个数字。
So far, I have not seen that number yet.
但是我可以告诉你，
But I can tell you,
许许多多我不知道的种子都在成长。
a lot of the seeds are growing without my knowledge.
有一天有个人打电话给我，他说阿旺弟兄
One day, a man called me and said, Brother Daniel,
，brother 阿旺，
Brother Awan.
我一听他的名字，我就知道他是个烂嘴婆，他怎么叫我弟兄？
I could tell from his voice that he was not an educated man, but how come he called me
He was
brother?
a gangster, very terrible man.
He was a gangster.
但是他告诉我，他说哪一天我发生什么事情，是你的哥哥将福音传给我，我现在信了主，我现在带着我全家在信主。
He told me how his life got turned around because of the gospel shared by Pastor Dan's brother, and then he led his whole family to Christ.
我的哥哥在很多年前说，他差不多带领了1000人信主。
My brother told me many years ago how he had led 1,000 people to Christ.
这1000人中有多少个人在传他的福音，根本不知道。
And how many of those 1,000 people are now sharing the gospel to others? I don't know.
What you need is to sow the seed.
你所要做的就是撒种。
这里有个人叫做戴德生
A man called
，James Hudson Taylor。
Hudson Taylor.
第一个就是他，
He is the one in the front.
他说：“如果我有1000条性命，绝不留下一条不给中国。”
If I have 1,000 lives, I will give them all to China.
事实上，他的生命，第二个照片是他的夫人，第一个死在中国的宣教士是他家里的。
So the first person to die in China in sharing the gospel was the wife of Jesus Hudson Taylor.
接下来，他的6代到现在第6代都在中国服侍，许多的人全部死在中国。
Now his 6th generation is still spreading the gospel in China.
一开始的时候，当他开始传福音的时候，他撒福音的种子时，他面对众多的拦阻。
When Hans Taylor first sowed the seeds, he was confronted with a lot of challenges.
很久很久没有人信主。
It was many years before the first person gave their life to Christ.
他用尽了将近半个世纪的时间，建立了一个800个人的那个内地会。
He spent nearly half a century building a rural church with 800 people.
800 missionaries in the
800 missionaries.
他带领了差不多4万人信主。
And that church he led almost 40,000 people to Christ.
他不知道的是，1个多世纪之后，中国是以每年450万人的信主的速度成长。
He would not have known that 1.5 centuries later, so many people in China are turning their lives to Christ.
每一年都是450万人受洗归主，持续30来年。
Every year, 4.5 million people in China give their life to Christ.
所以中国的复兴跟他们的生命就像种子撒在中国的地里是有关系的。
And this number has a lot to do with the seeds sown by the Taylor family.
你们也许觉得说我只是个很普通的人。
You may think that I'm just a very common person.
但是你是个普通的人，带有一个很不普通的使命。
But you are entrusted with an uncommon mission.
你只要愿意将福音传出去，
As long as you're willing to spread the gospel,
神的大能会伴随着这个福音。
God's almighty power will accompany the seeds that you are sowing.
我想跟大家讲下一个原则，就是撒种的是我们的态度。
And the third principle of sowing is to have the right attitude.
我们撒种了，就像保罗说：“我撒种了，阿波罗浇水了，唯有神叫它生长。”
I planted the seed, Apollos watered it, but God has been making it grow.
是神让它成长的。
It is God who makes seeds grow.
所以我说需要有很好的态度。
So you have to have the right
你
attitude.
想给我吗？很好的态度。所以许多的教会，并不是说我创建了这教会，这个教会是我的，我所有的荣耀，所有的功劳。
A lot of people build the churches and get all the credit, all the glory for building the church.
这是错误的态度。
That is the wrong attitude.
真正的态度，我都是被神使用的人。
Because we are all people used by the
我们
Almighty
也许
God.
撒种了，
Maybe we have sowed the
也许
seed.
别人浇水了，
Maybe other people have
别人
watered
除
it.
草了，
Maybe other people have
别人的工作
weeded
也
it.
许只是在他福音的障碍上清扫了一些。
Maybe some people just remove some obstacles.
但是真正让那个人信主的，乃是神自己。
But who really bring people to Himself? It is God.
另外一个态度就是我们要有给正确的种子，
And the next thing we have to pay attention to is sowing the right seeds.
不要自欺，神是轻慢不得的。
We have to know that God is not to be mocked.
在这个教会，我也是轻慢不得的。
And in this church, I am also not to be mocked.
如果我在讲道时，在他们打瞌睡、外玩手机，我是完全看得见的。
So when I'm preaching, if any of you are yawning or looking at your smartphone, I can totally tell.
但是我轻慢不得，跟神轻慢不得是相差108000里。
But there's a huge gap between the level of me not being mocked and the level of how God cannot be
If you
mocked.
mock God, that has serious consequence.
如果你轻慢神的话，你有很严重的后果。
圣经告诉我说，人种的是什么，收的就是什么。顺着情欲撒种，必从情欲收败坏；顺着圣灵撒种，必从圣灵收永生。
The Bible reminds us in this verse, whatever one sows, that will he also reap. For the one who sows to his own flesh will from the flesh reap corruption, but the one who sows to the Spirit will from the Spirit reap eternal life.
顺着情欲撒种，收的是什么？败坏 （corruption）。
If you sow with your own flesh, you will only reap corruption.
大家要好好想一想，
So we have to
我
reflect
们今
on
天有
that.
多少机会让恶者、让世界、让 TikTok 在向我们的生命中撒很坏的种子？
Today we are exposed to a lot of toxic seeds from the internet, from TikTok, from the world.
我们打开电视，打开 Facebook， 打开很多东西，我们发现大量东西都是向我们撒种。
When we turn on the television, when we turn on the computer, the world is sowing a lot of toxic seeds to our lives.
有些家长说，我把孩子一个星期带到教会了，1个星期带来教会了，我的孩子怎么还出问题？
Some parents may wonder, I already bring my children to church. How come they're still like that?
但是你要知道，你的孩子如果在教会只有45分钟的机会听见福音，撒福音的种子。
But you have to realize that your children may be spending 40 minutes of their life in church only.
但他的生命中1个星期20小时、30小时或10小时，向那些黑暗权势撒种。
Whereas 20 hours, 30 hours, or 40 hours of their life of that week is exposed to dark elements in this world.
而且顺着情欲撒种的结果是败坏。
Whoever sows to his own flesh will only reap corruption.
我知道有些人那个参加营会回来的时候开始说脏话。
I know some people coming back from the camp start to swear.
他以前是根本不说那个脏话，
That person,
为什么从营会回来就会说那个脏话呢？
that young person never swear. How come he came back swearing?
因为他跟其他的2、3个常常讲脏话的人在一起。
Because he was accompanied by 2 friends who are always using foul language.
常常用 F word， 常常用脏话的人，就像他不断在你的耳边撒种，向你的心中撒种。没多久，你也就养成了这个习惯。
When you are always hanging out with people who use the F word, then of course this seed is sown into your life.
And that is sowing seeds to your flesh that will reap corruption.
这个就是从情欲撒的种子，就要从情欲受败坏。
我们可以看我们刚才的故事中有4种土。
So in the gospel sowing seeds, there are 4 types of believers.
我们说这些种子都有同样的 DNA，
The DNA of all the seeds are the same,
但是它们的结果是不一样的。
but the reaping of these seeds are very different.
讲的所有的4种土，事实上代表了我们4个新的光景。
They reflect the 4 different status of the heart.
我会很容易告诉你，如果你坐在这边，你的心却不在这边的话，你的心就像第一种土。
If you're here, sitting here, but not really listening, then your heart is like the soil of the first person.
所有的种子撒到你身上，因为它弹在上面，所以小鸟饿着很容易过来把它吃掉。
It's like the seeds lie on the surface of your soil, and very soon the birds will come and pick them away.
如果你是第2种土，你的心中充满了各种东西。
Or alternatively, maybe the hard soil that you have right now is filled with different things.
所以在听讲到是半晌说，哎呀，我那个菜没有没买。
So maybe you are filled with a lot of different worries and a lot of different thoughts, so you get
也许我手
distracted.
机又来了个 message，
Maybe you get a notification from your smartphone saying that you have another message.
也许你突然间想到说，哎呀，这个讲道很好，拍给我看。
Or you are thinking, oh, this is a wonderful sermon, so I'm taking record for my friend.
我告诉你，我们的心就很像前面3种。
I can tell you that our hearts are very much like the pictures that you see.
同样的 DNA， 同样的种子，产生不一样的结果。
The very same DNA of the same seeds can reap different crops.
所以这个好种的 DNA 是什么呢？撒在好土上的是人听了道用领受，又结实30倍、60倍、100倍的。
What exactly should we do so that the good seeds can reap good crops? We have to read from this verse. Others, like seeds sown on good soil, hear the word, accept it, and produce a crop. Some 30, some 60, some 100 times that was sown.
我们知道，我们相信的神是让我们倍增的神。
We know that our God is the God who multiplies.
神拣选了亚伯拉罕说：“你要倍增。”
He chose Abraham and said, your descendants will multiply.
主耶稣拣选了门徒，告诉你要做得人的渔夫，你要倍增。
And Jesus chose his disciples and said, you will fish men like you fish.
跟旁边人说，我都有倍增的祝福。
And you can tell yourself and your neighbors that I have the power to multiply.
我们都有倍增的祝福。
We have the blessing to multiply.
但是提醒我旁边的人，提醒他说：少种的少收，多种的多收。
And remind them that whoever sows sparingly will also reap sparingly. Whoever sows bountifully will also reap bountifully.
Okay? 可以安静吗 ？OK， 安静。OK。
Okay, keep quiet, please.
少种的少收，多种的多收。
If you sow sparingly, you will reap sparingly. If you sow bountifully, you will reap bountifully.
传福音是这样子。
This is truth about gospel.
你服侍别人也是这样子。
It's the truth about serving others.
如果你见到一角，对他笑一笑。
If you see Ejel and then you smile at him,
那一角肯定向你笑。
he will smile back at you.
你祝福一下一角。
If you bless Ejel,
他下次说：“哎呀，我教你弹琴。”
he may teach you how to play the piano.
Because you are sowing good seeds in his life and you're reaping good things from him.
你在他身上撒好的种子，你就会从他身上看到好的收成。
小朋友们，你要是懂得对人家好，你一定会收别人对你好的种子。
Children and young people, when you treat people nicely, they will treat you nicely as well.
如果你的嘴巴总是bully别人，你最终遭受的是关系不好。
If you always bully others, you're gonna wreck the relationships in your life.
在人际关系是这样子。
There is some truth about human
在
relationships.
人与神的关系也是这样子。
This is the same truth about our relationship with
我
God.
们愿意让更多的时间投在神国的事情上，我们会收到更多。
When we spend more time in the kingdom work of God, we will reap a lot of good crops.
我还要说，奉献也是这样子。
It's the same about offering.
很多人一辈子我不要奉献。
A lot of people say, I can't really make an offering.
曾经有个人告诉我说，我一辈子从来没有奉献过。
Someone has told me that I've never ever given an offering in my life.
我说为什么？
And I asked him why.
他说我太穷了。
Because I'm too poor.
10几年工作之后，仍然太穷。
And after over 10 years of working in a career, he still declared that he was too poor.
再过1年，仍然很穷。
And he remained poor
因为
after another
我们
year.
有这个 poverty mindset，
Because he was stuck in this poverty mindset.
但是许许多多甘心愿意服侍的奉献的人。
But a lot of people were willing to give.
马拉基书是告诉我说，我们愿意将我们生命中我们所得的1/10奉献给神。
As we were reminded in Malachi, if we're willing to give 1/10 of what we have in this
神
life,
要敞开天上的窗户，倾倒下来，让你无地可容。
God will open the gates of heaven and pour down his blessings on you so that you have nowhere to store them.
圣经中只有2个地方说你是可以 test God， 你可以测试一下神的。
The whole Bible only has 2 places where you are allowed to test God.
第一个就是测下神是否祝福你，因为你孝敬父母。
The first thing is you can try and test whether God will bless you if you honor your parents.
第二个就是你敢不敢向他奉献。
The second is, are you brave enough to test God by giving an offering?
所以最后我想告诉大家说，有施散的却要增添，吝啬过度的反致贫乏。
Shall we read together verse 24? One gives freely, yet grows all the richer. Another withholds what he should give and only suffers want.
好施舍的必得丰裕，滋润的必得滋润。
Verse 25, whoever brings blessing will be enriched, and one who waters will himself be watered.
所以让我们一起欢呼，我们相信我们曾经生命中流泪撒种，我们必然欢呼收割。
So we should shout in joy this truth in verse 5. Those who sow with tears will reap with songs of joy.
我们一起祷告。
Let us pray.
Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you.
谢谢天父，我们感谢你，
Thank you for your words.
感谢你的话语，
Thank you for the principles of life.
感谢你对我们生命中有的法则，
Help us to be diligent workers.
帮助我们成为勤劳的工人，
Help us to have right seed sown into our hearts.
帮助我们选择好的种子
Help
播
us
在
to
我们
have
生
the
命
right
中，
attitude.
帮助我们有好的态度，
And help us to learn to sow in our life.
帮助我们学习怎么样播好的种子在我们生命上。
In Jesus' name.
奉主耶稣的名，
Amen.
阿门。
好的，那我们大家现在一起站起来，我们来领受从神来的祝福。
We will stand and receive the blessing from the Lord.
愿天父上帝的慈爱，耶稣基督的恩惠，